I would like to say hello to everyone. Welcome everyone. My name is Haris Boglu. I'm part of the American Club Business Development team, and I would like to welcome you all to the American Club's loss prevention webinar. As you may know, this webinar will be about PMEs, the pre-employment medical examinations. Now, before we get started, I would like to go through a few of small housekeeping items, which you can also see on screen. First of all, please note that attendees' microphones and cameras will be disabled until the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. However, please feel free to put your questions in the Zoom Q&A section anytime throughout the presentation. PDF copy of this webinar's presentation, along with its accompanying materials, will also be sent to the participants through a follow-up email. Meanwhile, please note that today's webinar is being recorded and will be made available on the club's YouTube channel. However, please allow us 1 to 2 business days for the webinar recording to be posted. Now, thank you for your attention. Without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to the moderator for today's webinar, Ms. Elina Souley. Elina Souley is the Business Development Director and FD&D Claims Manager of the Nigerian PME, Europe, Middle East, and Africa for Shipowners Claims Bureau Hellas Inc., the Piraeus Claims Liaison Office of the American PME Club. So, Elina, over to you.
Thank you, Haris. Hello, everyone, and it's would like with pleasure to welcome you to our pre-employment medical examination webinar today, which will be the first one out of a series of scheduled webinars that we are going to deliver over the next few weeks. What I would like to say that's for all of us in the American Club, our ultimate goal is to deliver first-class service to our members on a 24/7 basis and assist in minimizing any potential exposure in an effective manner. In that context, we are indeed very proud of our loss prevention initiatives. The PEME program is actually the cornerstone of those initiatives that has been running very successfully thanks to our members and to our loss prevention team since its inception in 2004. So now I would like to introduce to you our presenter for today, Dr. William Moore. Dr. Moore is our Global Loss Prevention Director for SIMS Claims Bureau Inc., the managers of the American Club. And without any further ado, Dr. Moore, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. I see some of the attendees. I know some familiar faces and some familiar names for many years who have been strong supporters of the American Club's PME program, and some new faces. But what I'd like to do today for all of you is really, through the years, we get a lot of questions, a lot of inquiries. I usually field a good dozen questions from members, usually over emails and or text, which is probably the best way to actually make inquiries with me on the PME program. But as Alina mentioned, the questions that come in, the comments that come in, they are the cornerstone as to why our pre-employment medical exam program has been so successful through the years. I do apologize. My host has disabled my sharing screen. I cannot put up a presentation. If we can fix that, sorry. Thank you. I hope you can all see the screen now, but just small technical issues along the way. But what I'd like to do again is to discuss with you today our pre-employment medical exam program. As Alina mentioned, it has been around since 2004. It has become very strong, and it is a cornerstone of our loss prevention initiatives. And it has been, and I think the primary reason for that has been the support of, not only the support of members, but also the fact that we keep on top of all of the cases that we have. We are here to assist members in complying, members are very positive and work with us on these particular initiatives. Now, COVID-19 has created a few issues along the way, as it has with the industry at large, but I will bring your attention to some of the regular questions that we get and how we're working around some of the challenges with the program, with the pandemic. As I mentioned, the PME program is part of a wider network of loss prevention initiatives that we were involved in. I will make a brief summary of that at the very end. But again, the PME is a critical part of that. So one thing, first I'd like to start with all members. I really stress to all members that we have a dedicated PME website page on our website. And I want to emphasize and re-emphasize that everything you find on that site is current and up to date. It is not something that we periodically update every few months. If there are changes, if there's a change in clinics, if there's a change in policy, if there's a change in the form, you will find it on the website. So what is on our website is current. I do periodically get questions from members who ask me, what's the latest list of I'm on your website, and can you confirm that this particular form is valid, or this particular clinic is still approved by the American Club? And I remind everyone, if it's on the website, it is valid, and it is up to date. What I would like to mention is one of the things that is on the website is our 2019 revised PME form. A few members have come back and saying, well, what's the 2020 form? And I do apologize for that, for any confusion. What the actual date there is when we made the last revision. So just for clarification, that's when it is the most valid form. And there are 3 sections to that form. There is the primary section where we have the PME examination, the list of tests that are actually given. And you will note on that form that the psychology test has been struck through. There's a red line through that. We are not requiring the psychology test anymore. And the primary reason for that is that after long discussion with the clinics all around the world, and they all generally agree, and that basically we have not captured as many cases, only a handful each year are identified as problematic. So basically we're not catching what we want to catch through that. Through the PME program. It is something that takes a lot of time during the exam process. And so we all agreed in unison, and we also discussed with the club's board and brought to their attention that we would be reducing that, or we would be deleting the psychology test. We do look to upgrade our activities on mental health and these things as part of seafarer wellness and the like at the club to hopefully fill in a bit of that gap. But as far as the PME program is concerned, we will not continue to actually do the psychology test. There is also a medical questionnaire, which has been part of the form for some time. And as you know, it's very important to actually get medical background from the seafarer. So the medical questionnaire is very important. We emphasize this to ensure that the clinic doctors or nurses, that during the screening process that they sit down with the seafarer and walk through the questionnaire and make sure that they're not just checking all the blanks. And usually the clinics are very good about actually ensuring that that's done. We added, a couple of years back, we added a declaration form. If we find that there's something, or if the clinic finds that there's something, let's say that they have a high blood sugar issue or a hypertension issue, medication is required, lifestyle change is required, exercise, better diet, and the like, that the clinic sits down, the doctor sits down with the seafarer and discuss and ensure that the seafarer understands that they have a PME, which is basically a conditionally issued PME. If there are medications required, lifestyle changes, those are clearly documented on the declaration form. The primary reason for the declaration form is for you, our members. So then you understand that this gentleman or lady may have a medical condition that needs to be managed, that they understand that it's been explained to them, and the activities that they need to take in action or non-activities, like lower their fat, their sugar, and other things in their diet, that all has been explained to them and completed on that declaration form. We also have, what I do is periodically, every 5 to 6 years, revise or go through a revision of our guidance standards on examination for our clinics. We do not do major overhaul revisions. We very much focus on what issues that we see with seafarers, and are we conducting the most up-to-date and correct examinations. So that's something which is done. That's done more internally. The last one of those overviews, the only major change was the addition of the declaration form for reasons that I mentioned a few moments ago. So there are no major overhauls and revisions of how we actually conduct our PMEs. It has been fairly static since 2004 with some minor revisions along the way. But those guidance standards are on the site, and all clinics are familiar with them and use them for completing the PME form. We have our list, as I mentioned a few moments ago, we have our list of approved clinics. We do have members who I am very thankful for, who come back to me and say, hey, this clinic, I might have had an issue. They may have an issue in making contact with them, or an issue related to completing the PME or the process. And members have been brilliant about coming back saying, Bill, I had this problem with this particular clinic. We reach out, make contact with a clinic. We settle things as quickly as we can with them. But the list of approved clinics, if you find a clinic on that list on any given day, you do not have to contact us and say, are these guys approved? They are approved if they're on that list on our website, okay? Another issue that had come up a few years ago that we made some changes to was that we reached out to all the clinics and asked them to provide their price list, because we had some issues with some manning agents who were trying to, let's just say, had a bit of an issue of overpricing some of our members on the PMEs, telling them one price when there's actually another, and then turning around and saying that it was the clinic, but it's not the clinics, okay? We want to make sure that all members are aware of what what the clinics are charging. So there's price list on our website. It gets updated periodically, but usually there are minor changes one way or other, just due to cost of, let's say, equipment and tests and these types of things. But that list is on there, and we encourage you to look at it should you need to when you are discussing these matters with your manning agent and pricing and the like. Or if you need for me to send it to you, I can send it to you. Or if there are issues with, if you want an update on a price, if I can reach out to the clinic and see if there are any changes to the current price list, we can do that for you. Now, there's also other relevant guidance that really may or may not necessarily apply to members, but some additional guidance we've prepared for manning agents and for clinics, but not necessarily directed towards members. One of the things that basically, I know many of you are familiar with this who are complying with our program now. We had, many years ago, we changed it so we could have a validation, uniquely numbered hologram sticker to each one of our, to each one of the PMEs. When a PME was completed, someone was found fit for duty, that hologram sticker with a unique number was applied to that. We had some security issues many years ago. Those now have gone away because of the application of the hologram stickers that we distribute to our member clinics, our club group clinics. Standard PME, as you all know, a standard PME has a 2-year validity. However, we do have from time to time issues with a seafarer who may be found fit for duty, but conditionally so. So in other words, for example, if he has a particular condition, he or she has a particular condition that the clinic feels that it's not good to give them a 2-year PME, but a 1-year PME validity, and they can come back a year later just to have a checkup to make sure everything is okay. That we do, and that happens periodically. That's usually if somebody has a particular medical condition that is best that they are seen once a year rather than once every 2 years. Usually that's done in cooperation or in correspondence with the club. Clinic will come back and tell me, you know, we have an issue with this guy, he has this particular condition. We think that a 1-year PME would be, 1-year validity on the PME would be more fitting than a 2-year. And we usually are in 100% agreement with the clinic. I've asked the clinics to give me their opinions, not tell me the condition and have me give them an answer. I tell them, we want your opinion in the first instance. Tell us what you think. And for the vast majority of times, we are in agreement. And so the PME can be issued for the 1 year. Now, one thing we also do not do is that from time to time early on, we were asked, well, can there be a PME that's issued for a single voyage for less than a 1-year time period? It is the club policy. We do not issue any club PME form that will be that will have a validity of less than 1 year. In other words, if the clinic cannot recommend, or due to the pre-employment medical exam results, cannot say that we would be fit for at least 1 year, then we ask that they're found not fit for duty. Like I said, we are periodically or actually usually a few times a week, I'm engaging with the clinics on one particular seaman or another. Periodically, we come back to the member if there's a particular issue with a seafarer. We will engage them up. I'll have the dialogue with the clinic, but we'll also go and engage the member too and just say, hey, we have this issue. The reason why we engage the member is that we are not here to try to reject your seafarers. That is not what we're here to do with the PME program. But if there's an issue that does come up, needs to be addressed, we should have a discussion about it. And at the end of the day, if he's found fit for duty, it is the member's final decision whether to take the seafarer or not. At the end of the day, it's not the American Club. We do not tell you to reject someone. We will let you know that there are very rare conditions where we would state to you that we don't feel particularly comfortable with taking someone on. I can tell you that has happened. The last time that happened was maybe about 4 years ago, where we had that kind of concern. We are there to help facilitate and ensure that you know the physical condition of your seafarers. That's the reason why we have the PME program. It's that you are very aware of the physical condition of your seafarers. And we're here to make sure that they're as fit as possible when they come on board. There are some frequently asked questions I'd like to just run through. We get these questions all the time. Does the club's mandatory PME apply to all seafarers? As you know, it does not apply to all, or as many of you know, it does not apply to all seafarers. I do get questions periodically about Pakistanis or Georgians or others. There is a reason why we have this list, and this list is named as it has been with these 9 nations, which are Bulgaria, India, Indonesia, Latvia, Poland, Philippines, Russian Federation, Ukraine, and Romania. The primary reason is that it is the frequency of claims that we've seen through the frequency of illness claims with these seafarers, combined with the cost. So through the years, when we've always evaluated through the years which seafarers that we should have part of our PME program, a mandatory PME program, and that's only been related to the frequency of those seafarers used and in combination with the cost of an illness. For example, we have many members with Chinese seafarers. And there are many Chinese seafarers who are on board American Club entered vessels. But illnesses are very rare with them. And when they are, they're usually not associated with a pre-existing condition. So that's why you don't see countries like China on our list. But these countries we do have, and we do know of illness-related issues and being relatively costly over time. Sorry. What's the time period for the validity for the validity of a PME? We ask that members, when someone receives an American Club PME, that they join the vessel within 90 days of that original examination. Okay. Now with COVID, of course, that has created a number of issues. We extend that on a case-by-case basis. We want to know, we ask members that, you know, we're willing to extend it, but we'd like for you to contact us and let us know. So then we keep a proper record of, you know, if there's an issue that does come up later, that we have a record that we've given that extension, and that clears matters up for you on your end as members. We also, a lot of members have been coming back. They think that it is a 60-day period. It is a 90-day period. And usually with COVID, we've been extending it out to about 120 days. And usually that's been generally okay. Now, we also know that members from time to time, they have a PME done, they get, or they arrange a PME for a seafarer. The seafarer is ready to go. Due to scheduling, matters arise, and let's say it goes beyond the 90 days for a short period, and that's only due to logistic issues. That happens too, but please, again, let us know. And we're not here to reject or tell you no, but we do, it is helpful if we keep a record of it so we know if there's any claim that does arise later on. When the adjusters are checking, and they'll look and they'll say, oh, well, he joined after X number of days when he should have joined after X minus Y days. And so we have a record, and I can go back to the adjuster and say, no, we had a problem. We don't have a problem. This issue arose, and they contacted us, and everything is fine. So again, 90 days is our mandatory cutoff. Again, flexible as needed due to COVID and logistics. Do seafarers need a new PME at every single contract? No, and I've been answering less of this question from time to time, but it still comes up. We remind members that the validity of the PME, a standard validity, is 2 years. The seafarer has the option, depending upon contracts, come off and on as many times during the validity of that contract, that PME. So if it's a 2-year PME, and he's able to fit in 2 contracts within that PME, let's say 7-8 months, off 3 or 4 months, and goes back on for another 8-9 months, that's fine, okay? So he doesn't need to have a PME at every single contract. Now, what we do, the one thing I do want to emphasize with members significantly, if someone is nearing the end of the validity of their PME, and they plan to go on a contract that will go beyond the expiry date of the American Club PME. In other words, if they have 3 months, I'm using an extreme case, 3 months left on their pre-employment medical exam, but they're going on an 8-9 month contract, they must have their PME. They must have another PME before they go on the contract. We do not. We're trying not to make sure that there are seafarers going on with expired American Club PMEs during a contract. So again, if you know that guy's his PME is going to expire 3 or 4 months from now, but he's going on an 8, 9, 10-month contract, please make sure you have his PME done before he goes and renewed before he goes on board. Okay, this is something we have really tried to emphasize. We went from a 1-year validity period for all PMEs to the 2 years about 7, 8 years ago. And when we did that, we made sure that, okay, if that's the case, we will not extend the dates on PMEs anymore. So make sure that their PME will be valid during the entire period of their contract. This issue, you may have seen a number of our circulars that have been released. We keep pushing it back. If you have seafarers on board ship, their PMEs have expired, you cannot get them off because of COVID, please be reassured from our end, you're covered on the claim side. There's no problems with the PMEs. We understand, and we are very happy to extend for seafarers on board ship when there's no means to actually get them off and get a new PME done, of course, because you can't get them off to be relieved in the first place. Now, with that said, though, we also are reminding members that we do understand there are issues with getting around in certain cities. There are lockdowns in cities because of COVID, lockdowns in countries. When you're getting someone on board, the extension date with actually having, okay, if you had a PME and we need to go to 120 days, that's fine. But we've had some members who we are trying to make sure that they realize, and all members should realize, they need an American Club PME, and they need a valid one before they go on board. And we do understand there are a number of logistic issues. If you have an issue, you have a problem, you have a logistic problem getting someone to a clinic before you're getting them on board, before they're leaving for their contract, let me know, and I will move mountain and water to large bodies of water to make sure that you're able to get his PME done before he actually departs. But it is extremely important that the American Club PMEs are done, okay? PME examinations are done and cleared. Now, COVID testing, I've gotten a number of questions from members regarding COVID testing. The American Club, as a reminder, we do not require under our pre-employment medical exam program that COVID tests be performed. We assist members at times when they need us to assist them, to direct them in the right direction, to have COVID tests performed, where they might be done, how they might be done, more like where they might be done. We assist, and we have a list right now, a running list of sites around the globe that perform COVID tests, and many of our clinics actually do so. Our Indian clinics in particular, there are testing sites that they'll collect the samples on site at the clinic, but then they send them out to a third party. Some tests are actually done on site, but again, we can assist you if you're requesting or need assistance on directing you with COVID tests, but it is not a requirement of the American Club, okay? So no worries on that. You might have charter requirements, you may have other issues, but it is not something for you to worry about from the American Club side. This does come up periodically. This is really more for members with vessels that are coming in, new vessels that are coming in, or they're purchasing new vessels, or there are new members. When a ship comes into the club and it has a crew on board at the date of entry, those seafarers who are currently on board at that date are not subject to the American Club PME requirements. So, but anyone coming on the vessel during a crew exchange, anyone coming on that meets the criteria of the countries that we have mandatory for the club, anyone coming on after entry date is required to have an American Club PME. So it's not as if a ship enters and everyone has to get off and get an American Club PME before they come back on. That just isn't logical. So again, any ship that enters the club on a particular date, those seafarers from another club or for somewhere else or a new vessel, those ships with that crew are not required to have an American Club PME. Anyone coming on after that date is required. Just wanted to clarify that. That periodically still comes up as a question. I'd like to just talk a little bit about our American Club PME report 2017-2018. It had been about 10 years since we had performed one of these examinations and looking into our PME reports and statistics. But there are some things that we have seen through the years, very consistent, and also consistent even with today, okay? So we took a snapshot, 2-year snapshot in time, and looked at our pre-employment medical exams. And there are some interesting things that we found that I'll just briefly go through. One of the things that I just wanted, as I mentioned earlier, just want to reassure all of you that that we are not here with our PME program to set a bar so high that seafarers cannot go over it, and they must be supermen, physical supermen. That is not the purpose of the American Club's PME. As you will note from this particular this particular table from our report that we will be sharing with you at the end when we send out by tomorrow. You'll receive our presentations as well as this report, but you can find it on our website too, that at the end of the day, only 2.6% of all the PMEs that we performed result in someone being found permanently unfit for duty. As you can see, about 90% of them are either just fit for duty straight after the PME or conditionally fit for duty. And again, that's usually something that happens where they may need medication. Usually a lot of that, sometimes hypertension medication or blood sugar medication, diabetic, oral diabetic, anti-diabetic medication. Only about 6% of our seafarers are found to be temporarily unfit, which means there might be some condition that they actually need to have some medication or take some particular treatment, but are able to come back. So basically what we're looking at is 97.5% of all of our PMEs result in them being found fit for duty. But again, we want to make sure, and we have some issues with about 25% of them where something is found to be abnormal and something that should be addressed in a lifestyle or medication during the employment. The vast majority of our PMEs that were performed were primarily the Philippines, followed by Ukraine and India. The others are relatively small. We do know that you do take seafarers from some of these other nations, but the vast majority and bulk of them come out of those three nations in that order: Philippines, Ukraine, and India. When it comes to conditions that we find that people have ill health, we listed what conditions during the PMEs that we found most frequent, and the first one being physical examination. And most of what's there in the physical examination is related to body mass index and a little bit overweight. And again, body mass index, we have our standards, but then again, may or may not, or we will be flexible on that depending upon the situation. If someone's way significantly over the BMI threshold, there may be issues, but if not, with, again, the declaration form, lifestyle change, diet, these types of things we recommend. And the other three that were at the top of the list, there are diabetic conditions that we saw, and miscellaneous medical conditions, as well as ultrasonic examinations that's related to kidney stones, gallstones, these types of things. Now, when it came to conditions that we found that led to someone being found permanently unfit for duty. Now that's that small fraction, but just so you know, there are some that basically we found fasting blood sugar being one of the problems, one of the issues, that if someone was found to be diabetic, for example, that diabetic, if they're required to take non-oral medication injections, that's an automatically found to be permanently unfit for duty. We do have a significant number of seafarers we found with diabetic conditions, but as long as they're able to take oral medication, and we try to arrange with the clinics that oral medication is provided for at least at a minimum a 3-month time period, but more likely for the duration of their contract, so they're carrying a lot of that medication on board. And they have it available, that's provided. But again, in this particular case, we see drug and alcohol, urinalysis, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. We are seeing our fair share of those particular conditions. I get notices from a number of our clinics, primarily out of the Ukraine, mostly, that I see, where someone has hepatitis B or hepatitis C in an inactive form. In other words, they've had it, it's been active, is now inactive. It's not, they can't necessarily give it to someone else. We're requested that they usually have a 1-year PME because they want to be able to monitor people like that, 1-year validity on their PME. We are more than okay with that, but just keep in mind the Hep B and in particular Hep C, the condition when it's active, of course, creates significant medical condition. But the concern with the Hep C in particular and the Hep B are liver cancer through at a later date in their later years. That risk is significantly increased. But when it's inactive, it's fine, and usually we approve seafarers to go aboard ship. But psychology tests, in some cases, this is before we actually deleted our psychology test, visual tests, and again, diabetes, and between diabetes and blood fasting sugar, it is an issue for many seafarers. So the key takeaways from our report was basically that we found that we're saving somewhere between $2.5 to $3.5 million a year in basically ensuring that we're through the PME program, that we're capturing seafarers and the conditions that they're in. They have their proper medications, and we're very happy with that, and our membership is very happy with that. And again, and I cannot reemphasize enough just how the PME program is successful because of you, and the reason for these savings is because of you, who have been making sure that you're complying and inquiring, and we work together between us, the club, and the clinic to make sure we're moving the seafarers along and they're properly fit before they go on board ship. I get this question quite often. People ask me, say, Bill, what do you think the primary problems are with why people have pre-existing conditions? And it put frankly, 4 words: salt, sugar, fat. Oh, sorry, 3 words. Basically, salt, sugar, too much salt, too much sugar, too much fat in the diet. Okay. We are we try to remind members, and and we see that. I think it's probably in the next point on my slide, is basically what we've been seeing is that members have been phenomenal with providing proper diets and balanced diets on board ship. But when seafarers are going home, we see this a lot, particularly in the Philippines, which is a high fat, high sugar, and high salt diet, that people, they go home and everybody's celebrating, everybody's happy, that the diet tends to slip away, the one that they were more discipline with on board ship. But we do know, and I've had plenty of conversations with plenty of you, and welcome to make any comment with regard to diets on board ship. I'm sure you keep a close tab on that and try to keep that a balance, but best you can do is do that at sea, and highly recommend that they try to do so while at home. And again, as I mentioned, the Hep B, Hep C trends, mostly inactive, but again, we do see a significant number of those, particularly when members come back. Sorry, clinics are coming back to me asking about seafarers' condition. They'll say that they've had a Hep B or Hep C inactive condition. So in summary, to wrap up, I cannot emphasize this much or enough. The reason why our PME program is as successful as it is because of the members' commitment, working with the club, and working and the clinics. The clinics have been phenomenal, and they understand that it's how important this is, and they appreciate the efforts and the work that we do with them. And they are here to, and the clinics have been very good. Many clinics around the world we have, some of them are available 24/7, 365, depending upon the location. Others we have some challenges with, like in Russia around Christmas time. Excuse me. Christmas time, New Year, everybody seems to disappear. So I have to flag you a warning. If you're going to change out your Russian crew, you better make sure you do it early December or late January, because around New Year it becomes a little more of a challenge. But again, it's the work between the club, the clinic, and the members that make this successful. I cannot emphasize enough also, if you have an issue or a question with a PME, if you have something where you have a problem getting a guy who's PME, or if you're having an issue, any type of issue, let's say you have a question about a PME form, it doesn't look right to you, might be a validity issue, let me know. I reach out to the clinics, they verify. So no matter what it is, whether it's a form, whether it's a question about whether a guy can go on board, whether, hey, you need an extension on his validity, or on, let's say, 100-day or 120-day extension because he had his PME, 90 days ago, and you're worried about that, please contact me. And I really emphasize you contact me via email, so then I can keep a record of it, get back to you right away. If it needs to be sent somewhere else for further discussion or consideration, it's easy if you send me by email. And it creates a record that's good for yourself as well as for us to be able to manage that, okay? I am here to answer your questions. Some of you I know who are attending today have been doing this with me for years, and they know, hey, reach out to Bill. If you got to find something, he'll direct you and work it as fast as he can. We do know, as I mentioned, that there are issues with seafarers. We know that no seafarer, very few seafarers on this day and age go on board ship without some pre-existing condition, okay? Again, we're not here to try to block your seafarers, and we know that senior personnel in particular are difficult to find. Particularly for your senior personnel, we try to make an extra effort because we know they're difficult to find. It may have been with you for a number of years. For example, sometimes we have a master who's starting to have vision problems, or a chief engineer who's having hearing problems from being in the engine room for so many years. We're not here to tell you you can't take them. We are here to assist you in making sure they have the right things that they need in order to go on board your fleet. So please reach out to us when you have issues. We're here to assist. Okay. Again, we understand COVID-19. COVID-19 has created a series of issues and a series of problems. We are here to try to work with you, work your way around them. Please reach out to us too. We put out we have a dedicated COVID-19 website, as you know. I'm sorry, page at our website on any number of issues. If you have any issues related to PMEs or else on COVID-19, we are going to be having a COVID-19 webinar next month. We'll be addressing many of the issues, and I'm sure Lena will have a lot to say about that. And next month, where there'll be some discussion, particularly on the claim side. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions. But on the PME side, we're here to assist. My final slide, just to let you know that the PMEs are not the only thing that we're working on loss prevention initiatives, but on our web, we have a dedicated loss prevention site on our website also with everything that we do, including PMEs. And you are welcome to go on there and find what you need. And if you don't find what you need, is to reach out and contact me directly to see if we can find it for you, or we can develop it, okay? And on that note, thank you for your attention. And we'll now take questions. And I can see that our Q&A is dead quiet. If you have questions or comments, please type them in. We have the Q&A window at the bottom. Or,
yeah, I think Bill, your presentation was very comprehensive, and that's why I guess people don't have anything more to raise.
Also, members have been, like I mentioned, members have been quite excellent about reaching out on a regular basis about things. And if you have your questions, you may not wish to put them up here, and you may have your own personal questions. I strongly recommend just reach out to me, and I'll get back to you very quickly and right away on any questions that you may have regarding the club's program. No questions. Okay. Tried to cover all the bases. We've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of the FAQs hopefully were helpful. Okay, I guess that's it, Melina.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you all. I mean, if you ever come up with any other questions that you don't have in mind right now, please feel free to contact any of us. And obviously Bill, you know, is the guru of the loss prevention, who will assist you with any PEME related issue. We'd like to thank you very much for joining us today. Stay tuned. There are more webinars coming up. We'll receive invitations, and stay safe, everybody.
Okay, sorry, Alina.
Sorry.
I did get one question that cropped up just as you were closing. I got a question with regard to again with PMEs. Must a PME be completed within 90 days of 90 days of joining the vessel? Yes, that is what we are recommending, or sorry, that is our general policy. That basically once he's had his PME, that he joined the vessel. He joined the vessel within 90 days. So then that PME is fresh, it's valid. We don't like them having a PME and then saying, okay, a year later he joins the vessel for the first time. No, usually we want the PME done freshly. Now, once it's done the first time, then it's valid for the 2 years, and he can come on and off as much as he likes. But once the PME is done, we like them joining within the 90 days.
Okay, and if there are not more questions, then we can say goodbye to everybody and hope to see you soon in one of our further webinars. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.